All right, welcome. Good morning, good evening, I think, except for Brenda now. All of us are in India. So, good evening to all of you, and very good morning, Brenda. And I know every time you're so dot on time, irrespective of whatever challenges you have. So thank you for being like that. So this is our session, a learning studio. We call it learning studio because it's going to be a workshop mode session, not a webinar where there is mass and the trainer keeps talking and you really do not get to interact. The intent of this session for a very small group of 8 people is we all get enough attention and are able to get our queries clarified. So who am I? I'm the co-founder of a platform named The Star in Me. The Star in Me is a global career advancement and learning platform for women professionals. We have been around for more than 1.5 years, but we have relaunched and rebranded and gone full haul, I would say, by this January. So as we speak, we have close to 4,000 women across 46 countries on the platform, and amazing coaches like Nancy, we have 60 plus coaches across India, US, UK, and Singapore who are part of the learning journey. So whoever, I know some of you are not part of the Star in Me, do explore Jill and Sangeeta, maybe others are. So whenever you get time, do get to explore Star in Me. I'll put the link. So now, without further delay, I will introduce our today's facilitator and coach, Nancy Katyal. I think some of you already know her from before. She did take another session on impact communication for us. There was a we had mass enrollment and people really enjoyed and had amazing feedback. So today's session is very important given that we are in the virtual world. We all till now have learned how exact presence is important when we meet face to face, how body language is important, how we interact. But I'm also very inquisitive to learn how we can step up our game when it comes to virtual executive presence. So Nancy, looking forward, she's the lead executive presence coach and CEO at the Perfect You. Through her coaching and training programs, she has been a guide to many esteemed corporations and individuals and business leaders, celebrities also, and CEOs of organizations. She's featured in a lot of leading magazines and newspapers, and I think we can't let go mentioning, where she's got featured in Forbes magazine, and we know how prestigious it is. So looking forward, Nancy, for this session. But since it's a small cohort, it will be great if each one of us can introduce for 2 minutes because it's going to be a peer learning, and with Nancy, it'll be amazing. I'll just start from my screen the way I see. Sorry, it's a cold call. Sangeeta, would you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Sangeeta from Pune. I'm a retired teacher. After my retirement, I joined ICBI. I joined only for soft skills. I have not done image. And I believe in learning. And I make a point that every day I should learn something. This is another part of learning for me.
Great. Thanks for being here, Sangeeta. Lovely. Brenda.
Hi, my name is Brenda Patterson, currently residing in Virginia, US. I'm a Scrum Master and I'm happy to be part of the team.
Thank you, Brenda. Jill, would you want to go next?
Hello, my name is Jill and I work as an intercultural facilitator. And I have a small business I started in 2010. So this topic on executive presence has always been fascinating to me because of the way it is experienced in different cultures, be it national culture or male, female, or old, young, or whatever it may be. So I'm looking forward to getting this lens on virtual executive presence.
Right. So true. Vaishali, you're next on my screen. Would you want to introduce?
So my name is Vaishali Ganorkar and I work for an NGO. I look after what you would say business development or moving the things in Maharashtra and Goa in the corporate space.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Shreya, would you want to introduce yourself?
Am I audible like this? Okay, hi, my name is Shreya. I am currently residing in Baltimore, Maryland, which is in US, and I'm working as a analyst in Morgan Stanley. And I look forward from the session to understand how I can make myself more visible virtually to my teams and in the corporate world. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya, the youngest in the team today. Noor, would you want to introduce yourself and come online with your video? All right.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
This is Biji.
Biji, you can go ahead.
Yeah,
Video,
hi.
video on?
My name is Biji Margaret. I'm not switching on the video because I have some connectivity issues because I'm connecting from my home. So I'm working with Infosys Limited as a part of the learning and development team in Infosys. I'm a corporate trainer and educator. So in fact, this particular title fascinated me so much so that at Infosys, we have a solid program on executive presence, how to develop executive presence for our employees. And today, when most of us are working in a virtual world, I'm very curious to know about what is executive presence in a virtual world. So looking forward to this particular session.
Great, thank you, Biji. Nupur, would you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, actually, there is a lot of connectivity issue going on here, so I'm not switching on my video. Yeah, so to briefly introduce myself, I'm from Pune. I come from HR background, and I'm also a trainer and an image consultant. And this topic per se interested me so much, and would like to definitely explore it more. So I'm here.
Great. Thank you. I think you're just missing one, Nancy. I think she'll join through the way. So over to you.
Thank you so much. So now let me first congratulate you that you are here because you know that virtual presence is important. That's why you're here, right? Now, it's a request. I know some of you have said that there is a connectivity issue. Can we still switch on the video for maybe 3 minutes and then I'll tell you the reason why. Sangeeta, can you please put on your video? Vaishali. And if you really want to get the best out of this, please put on your video. All right.
So I seem to have some problem with my video. It keeps going off, but I'll keep it on at the moment I realize.
Whenever the universe decides, you can be here and then you can. Now, I want you to just tell me when you look at the screen, when there are so many people, tell me what do you see? Other than their faces. Do you see something else?
Their background?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What else? Tell me honestly, when you looked at someone or that videos are on, are you also looking at their background and also the fan, also the way they are sitting, also the way they are looking? Show me a hands up if you agree with me.
The way they are sitting, the way they are dressed up, the way they are talking.
Absolutely. Now, a few housekeeping announcements so that we ensure that this doesn't become a Times Now show and we all get an opportunity to talk as and when you want to. So if you go on the participant tab, can you see the participant tab?
Yes.
Can you click that, please? Do you see a raise hand option like Nupur has just put it? So that's your first tip. When you are on a virtual platform, you don't act like you're in Times Now show. For people who are Brenda, there's this show in India where people come on panel discussion like something like this, and everybody is talking over each other, and nobody has any idea what is happening. So that's why this raise hand option. All right. Now I'll tell you why we restricted the number to that. And Mahua and I had a conversation about it, that the topic is so interesting. And, we had to close the registrations also because we were getting more inquiries. The idea is, tell me if it's your first webinar during lockdown. Show of hands if it's your first webinar during lockdown. If you have attended any other. So you have attended a lot of webinars, right? And you know why they didn't work. With a show of hand or anybody, if you can tell me that, what is it about those webinars that makes you attend this one again? Vaishali, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, no, they were on a different topic. This topic. This one is first for me.
Sure. How many of you honestly have attended a webinar while you're attending it and at the same time doing something else? And this idea, thank you, Jill, I appreciate your honesty. Thank you, Mahua. Thank you, Shreya. Yeah, that's why your executive presence in the virtual world is all the more important. And why I want to put you all on spot is that you think virtually that people have no idea what you're doing otherwise, but they do get it. If you've ever had a conversation over telephone with your friend and you're cooking or you're doing something else, and then there's a attempt from their side, hello, you're like, yeah, I'm there. I'm very much there. And you know where you are. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So for these 2 hours, my only request is I would want 2 things from you. That is AI, not artificial intelligence, but your attention and intention. Is it too much to ask for? No, right? Paisa vasool, right? Worth the money. And if you really want to get something out of this session, my request is that everything that I'm going to say, you have to implement it on yourself. It's about you, Vishal. It's about you, Nopal. It's about you, Brenda. It's about you, Shreya. It's about you, Margaret, right? Did I get it? Yeah, Sangeeta and Jill and Mawa. So the idea really is that everything that we're saying, we are going to implement it here and now. If it sounds okay to you, just show me a hands up like this. Okay, great. Now, I'm going to share a screen and then we will do the exercise, but hope all of you have a paper and pen handy.
Yeah.
Yes? All right. So I'm going to share the screen. As and when the exercises are happening, my request to you is that please be authentic, because the idea of doing this session is to bring the light that you already are. Sometimes we are the ones who come in our own way. Okay? One more thing, you need to observe how you are in this virtual space. Now imagine if I'm the trainer and I keep doing this. All right, so are we ready for the session? Yes, are we ready? Now tell me, would you think that you can trust me like this more or like this more? Like this. So do you see? So the impact. Now look at Jill. Is it okay if I be very honest with you while I'm conducting this session? Yes? Because I don't know any other way actually. Even if you I would have conducted. Now, if you look at Jill, the background, then, oh, she's here now. The background is plain, right? So your focus is on Jill, right? Now, Margaret, if you can just tilt your camera a little bit so that I can see your face and shoulders, like little bit up, little bit up. Do you see a difference between how you were seeing Margaret earlier and now? Vishali, if you can also put your camera a little up and tilt it so that we don't see the window somewhere. Do you see some difference now? Now, executive presence is all about you, right? We have seen it. When we see people, they enter the room and you call it aura, you call it the X factor, you know it when you see it. Yes? Now, if that is it, now I quickly want you to type R in the chat box if you're ready, and in the meanwhile, I will share the screen. If you can type R for ready in the chat box, and in the meanwhile, I'll share the screen. Are you able to see it? Perfect. Now, how many of you, with a show of hands, agree that majority of the decisions are taken about you when you're not in the room? Your career decisions even. For example, the promotions. Like, for example, you decided to enroll in this program without interacting with me, so to speak. So I didn't interact with you, but you took a decision. Sangeeta, are you with me on this question?
Yeah.
All right. So all major decisions about you in the world that you are living today are taken virtually a lot of times. So it's all the more important to show the light that you are. However, most of us have this disease bigger than COVID, which is I'm not ready. Yes? Yes or no? With a show of hand, yes?
I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
So you said I'm not ready means what are we saying there?
Sure. Thanks for clarifying. Now, I'm not ready as in working on my, so we are talking about executive presence. So whatever I'll be talking about would be about executive presence. Now, some people think that's a fancy term, and many people confuse it with a lot of other terms, right? So to get more clarity on that, could you please tell me what is your understanding of executive presence, just the word, and then I will tell you where I'm coming.
So I don't know about executive presence. I know about presence, and it would mean how you are physically is one part. It's more about your presence, as in how you come across as a person.
Absolutely. And also, I'll tell you, whether you're an executive or not, everybody has executive presence. All right. Now, what I want you to do right now is look at yourself and write down 3 things that are coming to your mind about yourself while you are in this virtual space. And be honest with yourself. Now, there are 3 things that you want to write down when you're in this virtual space. There are other people around. What are certain thoughts that are going in your mind? Just write down 3 things. When we are in a space where there
Is it 3 things about ourselves?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for clarifying, Margaret. So whenever you are in a space where some people may know you and some people may not know you, tell me 3 things that come to your mind when you are in a space where people can see you or they cannot see you, where they might make impressions about you. What are 3 things that come to your mind when you are in a space like this?
Can I share, Nancy?
Why not? Please go ahead, Sangeeta.
So the first one is attentive, well-groomed, and punctual.
Lovely. Anybody else would like to share?
Okay, I can share. I only
Please.
managed to come up with 2.
All right, please go ahead.
Okay, so the first one, I hope I will not make a mistake. And then the second one, I hope no one will challenge me.
Love your honesty.
I also have only 2. My first one was I feel a bit awkward, and I'll try and forget that there's a camera. And the second one is I hope I'm able to read the audience despite the distance or despite the technical limitation.
Lovely. I want you to think for a moment. Have you ever recommended someone whom you don't know personally, but you have recommended their name to somebody else for their work? If yes, I want you to tell me what made you recommend them.
Can I go?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I think what I'd heard about a person, the way he had performed somewhere, that's what made me recommend the person's name. Only what I'd heard.
Sure. Valid, yes.
This
Go ahead.
is such an interesting question because the moment you said that, I realized that it was actually their executive presence because I didn't even know them. I just looked at their photograph on LinkedIn and I saw, a couple maybe YouTube videos or something like that. And I just assumed their competence because they were being able to present themselves well.
Absolutely. Now you can link these answers that Jill and the other person next, because I can only see 6 people right now. So that's your executive presence in the virtual world, right? Like I said, you made a decision about me. Some of you know me, some of you don't know me. Either you know Mahua. So either based on her executive presence, you decided to come for this workshop, or the title attracted you. Now, be honest, how many of you Googled me? Nancy Katyal. How many of you Googled me? Those who know me, I'm sure they would know that. Those who don't know me, how many of you Googled me before coming for this workshop? And I told you, if you really want to get the best out of this workshop, you have to be honest. And I see Margaret is smiling there. I'm sure you did it, right?
No, in fact, I did not do it. Okay. But this session was organized by Uma, who is a co-founder of Star in Me. So credibility when Uma talks about something is amazing. So I blindly trust.
Wow. Wow. Now, do you see this? And imagine they don't know me. Somebody else is recommending my work. They have not seen my executive presence session. They've seen something else. And somebody just going by what they thought about me brings you to this session even without interacting with me. Yes? Mm. Now, if we have to put it really as to what it is, I'd say that in your virtual world, your visual resume is your new reputation. Your visual, I repeat, your visual resume is your reputation. And if you think that my skills will ultimately speak for me, well, not now. They will ultimately, we'll see that ultimately will come ultimately. However, the first thing that you need to keep in mind is that everybody is Googling the other person, especially when it comes to taking money out of their pocket and investing it. Either it could be from somebody else's recommendation or it could be through people. So now I want you to write down 2 things that you promise. And I would want everybody to say that aloud, because the idea of this session is that until I don't say it in front of the camera, like in this room right now, I will not do it. And results never come out of comfort zone. Never. I'm sure you've attended so many webinars, not on executive presence, but on XYZ thing. And your inner conscious knows how many things you've actually implemented. And that's because the only thing that is required is the action. You have the awareness, the acceptance is there, but today we are working on the third one. That is very important. That is your action. So I want you to write down 2 things that you promise that you would work on. The question is, what would you like people to say about you when you're not in the room? Write down 2 things that you would like people to say about you when you're not in the room. And if you write it down, it'll make it more workable, because when you write it down, your cognition also is working alongside.
Can I share?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, the 2 words are authentic. I should be authentic, and I should be compassionate, maybe. Okay. Credible and compassionate.
Okay, so I like the maybe there. So you want to be like that. Your maybe is like, I'm not fully there, but that's a value that I really adore. Is that true? You like it? Like it's
maybe I'm not getting those right words. So these words are definitely, see, looking at what I do daily, because I already told you I'm also an educator. Sure. Doing these sessions. I'm doing executive presence. I'm in the normal executive presence, but never in a virtual world.
Yeah, yeah. Anybody else would like to share? Brenda?
So my willingness to learn new things, I'm very humble. So I would like people, if I'm not there, to share that I'm willing to learn new things all the time.
Mm.
And I can't think of a second one at the moment.
Sure, I'll come back to you. No worries. Shreya?
Yeah, so I wrote approachable, like whenever I'm talking to someone, I talk in an impactful way that they remember me, that they talk to me, and yeah, approachable kind of person, and talented, maybe
Mm.
like
Mm.
talented and full of ideas and enthusiasm at work.
Mm. And I would want you to write down this maybe, especially for Margaret and Shreya. I like that you are just speaking impromptu. And I'll tell you when we will work on the authenticity bit, you will know why I'm talking about it, right? So if there is a thought, maybe some people have said it, some people had that maybe in their mind, they have not said it. So good, Margaret and Shreya, that you've put it out there because it will help other people to understand that there is a maybe. So the maybe is a workable area. If there is A and there is B, whenever you say maybe, it's like I really like it, but I'm not sure if it's me. And I really like that you've said that, because it gives a food for thought for other people also to understand what are the maybes that we aspire to be and what are the things that we already are. Sangeeta?
Yeah, knowledgeable,
Mm-hmm.
approachable.
Mm-hmm.
That's two, knowledgeable and approachable.
Okay. Vishali? I caught you by surprise, I guess.
No, I was like, okay, somebody else's turn is coming and it was mine. So I would say that when in like if people have to speak about me in a room, then that whenever she's given a job, considered it done, and two, she's the best person to work with.
Mm. I'll come to that. It sounds so great, right, to hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does. I'm sure you live that too. Jill, Nupur?
So I thought about the question of what do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room, and thinking from very much a work perspective. So the two statements are, I'm sorry, I have a Word document, so I probably look distracted, but I'm reading off of my Word document on my
I
screen.
trust you.
I said I'm really impressed by her ability to zero in on what is important to me, shift my perspective, and help me put into action that new thought or approach. Basically, the time I spent with her was valuable.
Mm.
That's what I want.
Lovely. Please do make a note of all these things, because right now it's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm just liking to connect with you, and I'll become more straightforward as we go forward. I'm just trying to gauge the room right now. And I like the way you all are smiling. So that gives me an acknowledgement that this makes sense. And that's your virtual presence, by the way. I'll keep reminding you. And Nupur, if you're there, could you please also share? Is she there? I'm not sure.
She's there.
All right. Yeah.
Maybe you can go ahead
Sure.
because
Sure. So now I will show you a slide which has a lot of photographs in it. I don't want you to think that this is the right answer to give. I want you to give the real answer. One of my friend Yogesh, he's also into this space, and he says that every question has two answers. Okay, not the right and wrong answer. Right answer and the real answer. The right answer is I would like to be seen as a very, very approachable person and a person who would like to help everybody. Now, the second bit is the right answer, but not the real answer. You know why? It's like, can I finish my work first? Then I'll help you, because there's a lot that is happening with me, especially in this virtual space right now. So when you look at the photograph, tell me the real answer and not the right answer. So when you look at the photograph, tell me the first person that strikes a chord with you when you look at the images. Yeah? So can we share? Vishali, would you like to share?
Yeah, I can think of the Pepsi lady.
Indra Nooyi.
Yeah.
And if you can share, why so?
I think something about her just strikes. Like when you put all the pictures were all there, but my eyes hit her, and I have heard her like little things on video, and I just find her really superb. So she just hit me. I mean, nobody took my attention. It was only her.
Vishali, as I ask others to share, maybe you can just write down, because executive presence, again, like I'll keep repeating, we know it when we see it, but if you tell people, can you explain? And I will tell you the executive presence definition in a bit, because we are living in a Google world, and we are like, okay, tell me right now, what is it? We've come for this session, so maybe you can just write down the qualities that's striking, and it will give you more clarity. I know what you're saying, like it would be good if we can share. Yes. Sangeeta?
Yeah, let me think.
Okay. Margaret? Nupur, Shreya?
So for me also, the Pepsi, yeah, Indra Nooyi, right? Yeah. So for me, it is like, I mean, there is something around her which makes me think that, okay, she means what she looks. I mean, whatever she's going to say, I mean, it could be something important. I mean, and again, yeah, that confidence, that confidence is seen. Okay, and again, something to say that don't take me lightly, kind of.
Yeah. Margaret, may I request you to write down what you've just spoken? And that when we will be doing breakout rooms, you will realize why I'm telling you to do this. So if you could just write down what you've spoken. Lovely. Who else? Anybody else would like to share? Jill, Shreya?
Yeah, Nancy?
Yes, sure, Sangeeta.
Me, it's Priyanka Chopra.
Yeah.
Because the moment I see her, I remember the struggle which she has done to reach that level. And the second point is that she belongs to the place, Jamshedpur, from where I have come. That affinity is there.
Yeah.
And third thing, she's a very family-oriented girl. She respects her family too much.
Okay. You know her personally? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Great. Anybody else would like to share? Jill?
For me, it was the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Sure.
And I think there are two reasons actually why she stood out to me. One, she's in the news all the time for all the wonderful things that she's been doing and accomplishing in the short time she's been in office. But funnily enough, the reason I think her face stood out to me is that a couple of weeks ago, my husband was actually talking about her and praising her and saying, wow, look at how she's handled the situation. And my husband doesn't even read or watch the news. And so it was very unusual to see him doing that. And, just basically expressing that, admiration for her. So she definitely stood out of these pictures for me.
Lovely. I like certain words that you've used. The decisions that she has taken during these times. She stood out for me. And my husband also, who never watches news, told me that. So maybe you can make a note of all these, and I'll tell you why we're doing what we're doing. Anybody else would like to share? I'm not sure if Brenda is around and Nupur is around.
Yes, yeah. I am. I had raised a hand. So the lady next to Oprah, just looking at her picture, it shows seriousness, like ready for business. And the way she is dressed, it's a formal call, like I mean business.
Now, I want you to write that down, Brenda. How many of you think, and it's not a self-ego boosting activity, however, it's better for me to take my example as a guinea pig rather than putting you all on spot. How many of you think that I'm formally dressed? So just show of hands if you can. You all think that I'm formally dressed?
Maybe semi-formal.
Semi-formal. Okay. So what makes you say maybe? And I'm okay if you want to put me on spot also.
Okay. So for me, my perception is like sari definitely is a formal attire, but the what you're wearing, I mean your chain, is a little showy.
Do I look more formal?
Yes, for me, yes.
Yeah. So I told you that the
It's a
idea.
perception.
Yes, of course, and you're not wrong. That's why I said I'll show you here. Now, if I was conducting a session, let's say for image consultants or for a creative industry, if I was wearing this, right, it adds an element of, oh my God. But now that I know where market is coming from, especially in corporate culture, when you see a chunky jewelry, there are certain stereotypes, and it is called as confirmation bias. Anybody who's heard of confirmation bias? Yeah, could you share, Margaret? Angel, I'll come to you also.
It is something to do with an unconscious bias also, if I'm right. I mean, that's how I understand it. See, we are being taught these things, at least in the corporate, to say that how to dress, how to. So some of these things, which is already there in the mind, is that you should not wear chunky jewelry. So even if when I see something which actually gels, I tend to actually pick on that particular part to say that no, that's a strict no.
Sure. Sure. Now, do you see more connection between you and me, Margaret, so to speak? And let's like I said, the authenticity is the underlying theme of this session. You better connect with me now that the jewelry pieces are.
I think yes.
Yeah. So you say yes, right? Yes, and I understand that. Jill, thank you so much. I'm loving the honesty in the room, and I'll tell you, the idea of doing it like this is that do we really know how we even speak? We don't watch what we say, but today is your opportunity to see that are you listening and also being watchful of what you're saying. And I'm glad that you all are coming out authentically and saying without any guards. Lovely. And if this is your authentic self, you all are going great. Jill, yes.
Are you talking about confirmation bias?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
confirmation bias is one of the many forms of unconscious bias, typically based on a strongly held belief, often associated with values based on your religion, history, family background, etc. So I always talk to people who have preconceived ideas about anyone's behavior, especially if they're traveling. So if you go looking for something, you're guaranteed to find it. And that's what confirmation bias is. Sometimes we see something in opposition to our bias, and we don't even recognize it mentally. We don't even notice it. But as soon as something comes into our peripheral that confirms our existing bias, we snatch it up and we say, see, I told you so. So that's the best way I can describe confirmation bias.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll tell you this, and Sangeeta was very honest when she said that she loves Priyanka Chopra because she's from a same place where she comes from. Right? And they're not even aware that we are doing this. And sometimes because of this confirmation bias, we are hurting people unknowingly. Right? There's one thing to say that I prefer this. There's another thing to say I only believe this. Do you see the difference? And that's the difference between a person who has just presence. Now, we all have presence, right? We are alive. So we have presence. So your presence is that you're alive. That's your presence for sure. But when you're adding leadership presence or executive presence in the virtual world is that am I aware that when I wear this, it has some connotations that are attached to it, right? When I wore this, my daughter immediately said, Mama, it's, you're looking like somebody from village. Now she's a millennial, right? For her, it's more about decent pendants and everything. So I said, no. And I knew it while I wore it so that somebody should catch me and say what you spoke, Margaret, right? So I'm just saying that are we aware of our confirmation biases? And you should know that there are other people who have their own. And I hope it is not coming in your way to create the presence that you want, even in virtual space. For example, when you're writing something on Facebook, how many of you are not on any social media platform? How many of you are not on any social media platform? You can raise your hand. You're not on any social media platform. Lovely. So you know what I'm trying to tell you. So we are all virtually present. So you have a presence. For example, how many of you are having an official conversation on WhatsApp? No official conversation on WhatsApp, Vishali?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you are having, right? So that everybody is having. Now, I want you today, if you're having your business conversation, if you have a display picture there. Now, many people would say, and Jill is smiling because Jill and I, Jill, is it okay if I share a conversation that you and I shared on Facebook sometime back?
Sure, of course.
And I love the way she responded. So I'm just saying that executive presence is not just about dressing well. That's one part. That's a small part. But how do you respond to someone, even the comments, you are making your presence in the social media world. Okay. Now, for example, Jill and I put a post there that fake it till you make it is the worst advice somebody can give to someone who's working on themselves. And I put it on Facebook. And Jill, the way she responded, one is, I disagree with you, right? No, this is wrong because we've been told this, fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it. Very lovingly, she responded, though there was a disagreement. I could sense there was a disagreement. However, the way she responded, and I also felt like responding back to her. And the beauty is that later she said, okay, I agree with what you're saying, in a way. So I'm just saying that your virtual presence today is not just limited to your WhatsApp display picture or your LinkedIn profile. Right? If somebody would say that, can you please talk to that person? How many of you had this instinct to check their WhatsApp DP picture to see how they look like? Who is this person I'm going to talk to? Right? We have all done that secretly. And if you're smiling, I know, don't lie. Right? So one of the beliefs, one of the confirmation bias could be for some time that fake it till you make it, because this is conditioned in us. And some people might say that, don't you think that executive presence is also faking it? Oh, I wear a nice dress. Isn't it about faking it? So that's where the difference lies. It's about being mindful and not faking it. For example, if you get angry at work, would you use certain words that are not appropriate at an environment, even if you feel like saying them? No, right? Similarly, when you are attending a conference or a webinar, the first thing that people would notice is the frame. Okay. Now see the difference I'll show you when I shift. You see the difference? Now it's not about faking it, it's about being mindful. So one word that I want to use today in the entire session is being mindful. Faking it is that I wore a piece of, like, I'm not very comfortable wearing those necklaces which go up till here, like very heavy jewelry, but they fascinate me like anything. So if I wear something that is in and it's not me, but I want to wear it because it's in, then it would be faking it. But if I wear something that I can carry off and it's part of my personality, that's your presence. And that brings me to the next exercise. I want you to write down one thing that makes you memorable when you're having a conversation with someone virtually, not face to face. If now people are talking to you on the phone, right? Whether you're a trainer or at workplace, so you're mostly engaged in having a conversation over phone. What do you think makes you memorable? Not with everybody, maybe. What makes you memorable when people are talking to you over phone?
Tone of that person.
Tone, yes. So the moment I tell you, is it correct or not, though I'm smiling right now, but you see how I'm coming across? And these are small nuances in your virtual presence. For example, some people leave a high note when they are talking. For example, my name is Nancy Katyal. So it's like, I'm not sure whether my name is Nancy Katyal. There's a question. Is that right? So I'm just saying that it's about being mindful. Mindful. So that is also your presence. So when you're talking in the virtual space today, people can still see your facial expressions. And you wonder why, even if the videos are not on. Any thoughts on that? Do you think people can still see your facial expressions?
Yeah.
Not like literally see it, but can they feel it? Yes, they can.
Yeah, you can feel it in the voice, right?
Yes.
The whole thing is being transported to your voice. Your voice is
Absolutely. One tip in the virtual space, and then we will move on to more activities, is that every time you pick a phone call, please smile and say hello. Right? Shreya, you're smiling right now. For example, whenever you're introducing yourself, Shreya, just try and smile and say, because your number one quality is that you want to be approachable. For example, let's see this, okay? I really want to come across as an approachable person. I really want to come across as an approachable person. Yeah? And I really want to come across as an approachable person. Do you see the difference? Now, would you believe what I'm... Now, I will stop my video for a second and I'll give you two instances and I want you to tell me which one sounded better. Now, you need to understand this, right? That is one. Second, you need to understand this, right? Second, right? So show me the victory sign, maybe, if it's two for you. Lovely. Now, in the virtual space, if you think that your voice is not making an impact, it is. And we all talk about people. Let's face this. As much as we are told, no, we should not gossip, come on, we all do it. Vishali, is this yes or no? Because in India, I know people do say yes like this also. Will you do it?
a great Indian head nod.
Yes. Yes, lovely. So that's, I love the spirit. So like I said, the idea really is to tell you what I'm seeing right now so that we see the results right now and not like reflect what you did. Is that okay with you, or I'm coming across as a strict teacher, so to speak? It's okay with you, right? Perfect. Perfect. Now, Brenda, is that okay with you? My accent is okay with you? Are you able to?
Perfect.
Yeah, I can fake accent. Let me know if you really want me to. Is that okay with you? Perfect. So why I asked her this question is that sometimes when we are interacting with somebody else, we tend to mirror that and they can figure out if we are faking it or are we being ourselves. Is that correct, Brenda?
True.
And I'm asking her because there's a cross-cultural difference, so to speak. So that is another tip. When you're in a virtual space and if you see somebody from a different culture, please be yourself and you can check with them that is that okay with you. One more tip that I can give you in communication, I will come to that. That brings me to the first element that I'll be talking about. That is your personal style in executive presence. That's your first element. We promised you to give you 6. I'm talking about the first element, that is your personal style. All right. Now, if you look at the screen right now, do you think that it is so Shreya, it is so Margaret, so Brenda, it is so Sangeeta, it is so Vishali, it is so Jill, and so Mama? Everybody is unique in this space, right? Now, in the virtual space, my question to you is, and of this session is authenticity. And I want you to answer that if this session was at Taj Hotel or Grand Hyatt, would you dress the way that you're dressing right now for the session?
No.
Sorry?
Definitely no.
Huh. So now, I want you to treat the virtual space as your workspace. If the videos are on, and I'm saying if because people are watching you. Now imagine if I was wearing this kind of jacket. Do you see this? You see it is pixelating on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah? You see there are pixels that are expanding?
Yep.
Now, I may come across as a very formal person by wearing this jacket. However, do you see the impression I would give? People would be wondering what's the magic happening on the screen, right? So similarly, when you're on the screen, please be mindful of checking 5 minutes earlier to see that what you're wearing is, if you're on the video call, that it is not pixelating on the screen. Solids are always safe space and better. However, now if you look at Vishali, can I take your example? Thank you. Now, if you look at what Vishali is wearing, it is matching with her backdrop.
Yeah.
Yes. So Vishali, while you look so beautiful, you are merging with the wall. Yeah. So can you, if at all it's okay with you, can you shift to the white background, the little white patch I see? If you can shift your camera to the white. Do you see the difference in the lighting, and her face is becoming more vibrant? Little things make a difference. Shreya, can you lift your camera as such that I'm not able to see the fan up there? Can you shift it a little up? Lovely. Okay. Margaret, you were agreeing with me 5 minutes prior. Now you've gone back to your comfort zone.
Yeah, I know, because I was never ready to come on video for this particular session. So
That's why.
I'm just as if I'm in my room.
So the idea of
comfortably
making it
switched
like
off.
this was that we should make you uncomfortable. And if my idea is that after this session, even if some of you dislike me, I'm okay. But if you start liking yourself more,
You're making
I'm happy.
perfect sense.
Right? So the idea is, I'll repeat again. If
In fact, I am apologetic because I am not actually groomed or.
Margaret, I am telling you, the authenticity of this space is amazing, and I never expected that, because some of the people I know, however, some I'm meeting for the first time, and then Jill also I know, but in different capacities. You know, when you meet somebody at a party versus this formal, there's a difference in the demeanor also, right? So I'm liking it, Margaret, that you are comfortable with being put on spotlight in that also, and Vishali too. So I'm just saying that the moment we do that, now you may say that why, again, is it not faking it? The word is being mindful, right? Because the world is crowded, everybody is online, everybody is saying that, come on, I'll change your life, you want to become the richest person in 10 days, come to me, right? We've all seen those videos circulating, but we don't tend to believe them. Why? Because at the backdrop, maybe you see something and you're like, right? So similarly, imagine if I am conducting the session like this and I say, today's session is about executive presence. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So the first element is your personal style. If your answer is that you will not dress the way you're dressing for a video call, I'm giving you the little discount that if it was an audio call and people are not asking you to come on video. Now, for example, maybe some of you are not even aware that we'll ask you to come on video. Now imagine if it was at work and you were dressed in, let's say, t-shirt and shorts. When your boss says that it's a very urgent meeting and I want to have a face-to-face interaction, can you say no? You'll have to. And imagine the embarrassment that will happen. You'll say, no, actually, I was just getting, actually, and then the defense mechanisms creep in. So first tip in personal style is, if you would not wear what you're wearing to work, what is stopping you from wearing it now? And now some people say, but the house helpers are not coming. Now, Brenda, in India, I'm sure how is it there, but in India, many people are getting used to being very comfortable. Okay. So the idea really is that you have had people who have taken leaves earlier also when the lockdown was not there. You still went to work in a proper attire. Now, COVID cannot become an excuse. Now, there have been 3.5 months of comfort already. Come on. Yes.
I have a question here.
Go ahead, please.
So it is more about, you have also been talking about the background, right?
Yes.
In fact, I have been also attending webinars. So at least in the office. So when it is strictly official and those big bosses get into the webinar for some serious things, I always find that they are sitting in a kind of a library setup. The background is all about books and all those. So that makes me wonder, I mean, to have executive presence, do we need that kind of a background? So
Okay.
I want your opinion on that.
With your permission. Either we can be part of the crowd. I'll tell you where it is coming from. It's called herd mentality. We saw the first webinar and we saw books. See, whenever there is a new trend and when we see everybody's doing it, we also want to do it. Now, I'll tell you what is the problem with this background. One, my books are not arranged properly, so excuse me for that. However, the problem with this background is that Nupur, Sangeeta would say, okay, which one is that? Ting, zoom it. Which one is she reading? Ting, zoom it. So now,
Initially.
yeah. And I have done that. I have also attended webinars and I'm like, okay, wait, ting, because the person is very, very respected in that space. And I'm like, okay, you talk, that's okay, but I want to know which books are you reading. Now imagine, you don't want to be in that space where you have come to share an idea, your thought leadership, and people are actually looking at the backdrop. And again, I'm saying it's all about being you. I can do that also in the same room. I have that backdrop, and guilty as charged. I have done that session earlier. And when the photos come online, well, right. I hope it answers your question, Margaret. Again, the idea really is, what do I want to be, not what others are doing, and that's what your executive presence is. I've also seen big sceneries or landscapes, right? Now, if that becomes the point of distraction, then I'm not sure. So ask yourself, will it become a point of distraction? Now, if I want to be a participant and I don't want too much of focus on me, I think that's a great idea to have that background, right? I mean, that's a choice that you will make. Personally, I would say that you want to be the focus. Now, if you look at Jill also, clearly she's standing out, right? Even if you go back to the backdrop, you still come back to her. Again, go back to the backdrop. Again, you come back to her. If you look at Mawa also, right? Even Brenda for that matter. Of course, there is, I'm not sure if it's a LCD screen or whatever that is, but still, see, I'm still figuring out, we are curious as human beings. Like, for example, I'm like, Sangeeta, okay, is it her bedroom or her So imagine if you enter the space and I'm saying, okay, today I'm talking about executive presence. That's okay, but okay, sure. So do we want to do that? If that is your idea, please go ahead. I would not recommend that, right? Now, Sangeeta is a participant right now. It's okay. Maybe she doesn't want too much of noise. So she feels that bedroom would be a comfortable space because people would come. That's okay. Now, last session that I had done with the star and me was in my drawing room. The backdrop was different. Now, not that day, for those 2 hours, my husband and my daughter were not at home. And imagine, I have seen people passing by on screen and you're like, you also pass by, like, right? So I'm just saying that these are small things, but they do make a difference. And that's your virtual world. Would you take your puppy, or if you have a pet, at work while you're working and the pet is lying down there? I've seen pictures popping on social media like that. So I'm just saying, you ask yourself that, am I being authentic by doing this? Or of course, people understand if by default, for example, right now, I have made sure that, nobody enters this room. Now, if somebody just opens the room, your executive presence is also seen here. And I'll give you an example. I was watching a video on YouTube, which was a webinar, and the gentleman was doing a session on emotional intelligence. And I think his wife, or I don't know who it was, I saw the expression like this. Now imagine this person is doing a session on emotional intelligence. And I switched off the video. I said, no, this person is not practicing what the person is preaching. I said, I'm not going to watch this video. Now, there is an option to stop the video. I'm not saying that these things will not happen, because these are trying times and these are different times. You've never experienced this. But there is an option. Yes, Margaret, go ahead.
I'm so sorry I'm asking too many questions,
I
because
love
I
that.
do have, contradictory inputs related to that. Okay. So the last time there was a lot of talk in our organization about please don't worry about working from home and all those things. So everybody was trying to make everybody feel very, very comfortable about that space wherein there is a lot of, work, house related work that we are also doing. So there is no, the personal and the professional space is not that kind of a compartmentalized kind of a thing. So one of the things that our unit head did in one of the calls was that, I don't know whether it was intentional, but when he was addressing the whole team, which was around 700 to 800 people, what happened was that his maid came, all right, and to mop or dust or something like that. And then she left, but he was actually not looking at the maid or doing anything about that. But later he talked about it to say that, see, this would happen because you are working from home and it is perfectly okay. See, so for me, it is, now that we are talking about this, it's a mixed message,
Sure.
right?
So thank you for sharing that message. And I think you've answered the question yourself. You said there was a maid there. However, he was unflappable. He was not worried that the maid is there. Okay. And if you've noticed, Vishali's house help also came to say hello. I mean, not literally, but that's okay. That's okay, Vishali. But I'm just saying, I don't know, house help or somebody in the house. I'm sorry, I'm just making a judgment there. However, it's okay. She was not worried about that. So I'm just saying that that is okay. So thank you for sharing that message. That by mistake, if somebody has come in, it's absolutely fine. But I'm just saying that if you're talking about something, so the gentleman, I'm just saying, if you're giving a presentation, so to speak, if you are leading and talking about critical situation, for those hours, maybe you can request somebody that is critical meeting, can you give me that time, until it's urgent, right? So maybe he was having, so that's perfectly fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong. But if you look at my message, earlier one, the person is saying that emotional intelligence and the expression was, and he was actually talking about how to handle yourself when the situation is critical and how to keep your calm. So I'm just saying that it was a conflicting message for me during that time. However, if somebody just passes, then you can't really help, right? But you can have your gravitas, which is another element which we will come back to. I hope it answers your question, that if something happens, for example, COVID happened without asking us, right? Yeah.
True.
And we are just melting in that space, right? So I will go further and share the next bit, right? Now, what is your personal style? Now, personal style is that you are your message. And in personal style, that is your element one. That is that when somebody is looking at you in virtual space, or even if they're hearing you or listening to you, what are the kind of messages that you're sending? Are you even aware? And if you're meeting somebody for the first time, and the beauty of the space is that many people from cross-cultural departments, if you're working in an organization, or if you're a trainer, you don't know from where people are coming and joining it. So it is also about your first impressions. And I always say this, that dressing and grooming is not self-importance, it is self-respect. Now, if you look at the screen, and I've already spoken about this, and if I show you one more example of, if you can see this, do you see what is happening to the shirt on the screen? Yes? So I'm just saying that just testing, it takes 2 minutes whenever you're not even having a video call. Just if you plan to wear a shirt like that or a suit like that, just see on the camera, you can do dummy check and see if it is coming on the screen like that. So that is your first element, and we've spoken a lot about that, that in your virtual space, please have a professional profile picture, even on Zoom. Now, for example, if I stop my video right now, you would see, I think my screen is somehow stuck. So in between, I will again show you. When I stop the video, you will see that there's a professional image for Zoom also, because we are using it. Sometimes you will stop the video, right? So that's your first tip for your first impression, that please have your professional pictures on these platforms also. And please have a picture where you're smiling. Because, you know, I have seen people with pictures like, now imagine if I've never seen you, I would be thinking that, okay, maybe this person is very strict, okay? The second element is your online presence. And we've spoken a lot about this also, that when was the last time you Googled yourself? Have you done that? I'm sure we keep doing it on others. Do you do that? And just see what all comes up. And also it's the right time to check what all you have posted on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter. Check if there are certain things that are not in alignment with the message that you want to send to the world. And you may want to delete them if they are not in sync with the message that you want to come across, because we all evolve. Now, maybe you think that this is not what I believe in. It's okay to delete those messages. It is okay to do the audit, because people do scroll your screens these days. And digital etiquette. I cannot harp on this, that now that this is the new normal, if the meeting is starting at, let's say, 11:30, it's always good to be 5 minutes early. For example, if you were to attend the meeting at office, you will ensure that you wrap up everything 5 minutes earlier and go for that meeting. So please, only difference is that you're shifted to this space. However, the working should not differ. If you were earlier thinking about small details, this space also you should be mindful of these small details. For example, I told you about the camera angle. So the digital etiquette is to make sure that you're visible. If I talk to you like this, yeah, that's true, that's correct. So immediately there is a difference, right? And why I'm using headphone is because I'm conducting the session and I don't want the outside noise to bother you, because there could be, maybe, you know, a utensil is dropped in the kitchen. Now with this headphones, the noise cancellation, these are small things, and this shows to people that you're serious. Now I will also give you a tip. If you are the one who's giving a presentation sometime, and if you are the one who's only listening also, I will show you the trick to appear as if you're really talking to the person. Now see, if right now my camera is at my eye angle and I'm looking at the camera, not at you. In between, when you all talk, I look at you. See the difference. Now I'm looking at all of you. I'm looking at Sangeeta, I'm looking at Brenda, right? And now I'm looking at the camera, where the camera is. Now tell me, does it really look like I'm really talking to you? If you were the only one who was to just listen to me, you don't have to respond, right? So that's the difference. And also, please get acquainted with mute, unmute option. If there is a noise or somebody calls you, because that can also happen. Somebody might just call you and say, hello, chai is ready, or the tea is ready, or whatever that is. Please mute yourself. So we have covered two. One is online presence, and second is personal style. Text messaging. Oh my God, I cannot tell you the blunders. And I'm a person who prefers to send audio notes, or unless until if it's an urgent message, which is a formal message, then I may send a text message. Please understand that everything that you send digitally is always public. Even if you think that they will not share, people may click a screenshot and share it. So please be very mindful, because that's also your virtual presence. Please do not share anything confidential on text messages, because that can also harm your reputation. You can always call. WhatsApp also has an audio note option, because people can actually sense your tone also, because some of the misunderstandings can happen with messages like this. For example, just check and see the difference. Do you see? And I can give you an example from my experience that, and that was the last time I made that mistake of not checking auto pop-up. So I sent a message, and it was when face-to-face interactions were happening before lockdown. I sent a message, and I didn't realize that the message went, and I'll tell you what I actually wanted to say. The message went that I'll see you in 5 minutes in the bathroom. And I receive a reply, why should I see you in the bathroom? And I was like, oh my God. And it was a person from the opposite gender. Can you imagine my embarrassment? I wanted to send boardroom because we had a meeting regarding something. So I'm just saying that it takes 2 seconds or maybe a couple of seconds extra to check that. Another example I can tell you is happy birthday dead. I wanted to send happy birthday dear. Of course, I didn't send it. It showed me, oh my God, I'm wishing happy birthday and I'm already telling them that you're dead. These are certain things that you should be very mindful of in the virtual space because they also create your presence. And small things, if you look at this message, be there in a 15 minute, I'll be there in 15 minutes, right? So these are small things that make a difference. Now, the third one element is communicating to connect. Now here I would tell you what executive presence is actually all about. Now, if you've seen people, when you see them, there's something about them that captures your attention, their charisma, their gravitas, their ability to own the room, so to speak. Some people call it the it factor. Executive presence is nothing but your ability to inspire confidence in others and your ability to engage with them, your ability for them to trust you, and also your ability to exude confidence and your ability to have faith in yourself. And when we see these kind of people, we know that they have it what it takes, and that's executive presence. And as we go forward, you will see that any human being that you encounter, the basic need is they want to be feel seen and heard. If that's something that you agree with me, just show me. We all want to feel seen and heard. Yes? Now, I want you to reflect and check every time you are talking to people, do you talk more or do you listen more? People with executive presence, today I'm talking more because that's a session. However, you please understand that one thing that has been conditioned in our mind is communication is all about talking. However, people with executive presence are very good listeners. Are you ready to do an activity? Yes, no, we don't care.
Yes.
Okay, so Jill is ready in her Punjabi style. All right. Listen more, yes. Absolutely. Okay, so in this, I'm going to put my video off and I will say 15 items. Authenticity is the theme. You will not write it down. And when I'm trusting you, I can watch you. Only my camera is off. I can watch you. So if you write that down, this is your test of your executive presence. And I like the way Jill was moving her eyes. And being aware of who you are. This is your moment. And if you really want to work on your executive presence, right? Are you ready for the activity? Yes. Perfect. No writing it down. Because it's like, when people are talking to you, of course, in a meeting, you can jot that down. But if in the video call, if you're talking, I said, just a second, you said you want to come across as all right. Yes, yes. So do you see the message? Yes. So now I will say 16 items and I'm watching you. This is the professional image. It's professional per me. But, okay. So do you see that even if I'm not talking, people can see somebody, not buffaloes and sceneries and mountains. You have an identity. That's why executive presence. All right. Here goes those 16 words and I'm watching you. Nupur, I trust you because your camera is not on, so no cheating. All right, here are the words. Dream, bedsheet, evening, pillow, night, stars, pillow, dreams, bed cover, bed, cushions, cushion cover, pillow, night, pillow, dream. Okay, so tell me certain words that you remember.
Dream.
Pillow.
Dream.
Dream.
What else?
Bed sheet, pillow, pillow
Bed sheet,
covers,
pillow,
night.
cushion covers.
Cushion covers. Tell me the
Stars.
word that I repeated a lot.
Dream.
Pillow.
Pillow and dream. Yes? Now, what it has to do with your communication? And you know, people say that they are misunderstanding me. I'm not arrogant. They're thinking that I'm arrogant. They might have seen something that you posted on Facebook. The underlying thing could be arrogance. And if you're using that in your communication 2-3 times, that's the message that you communicate to people. Okay, so that's the point I'm trying to make out of listening also. Are you aware of the words that you use in your communication? I have seen people who say, I have to do this. I should do this. You must do this. Versus, would you choose to do this? Could you choose to do this? If given a choice, would you do this? I'm just saying that your executive presence is also your ability to check what are the kind of words that you use. Okay, okay, okay. Certainly, sure. Huh? Now these are vernacular accents, okay? Huh? Ho. So I'm just saying that please check if you are doing that, and that is again being mindful. Thank you so much, Nupur, for that input. Now, shall we go on for another exercise? And as Jill is watching the watch, still time. Oh, I caught you. So I'm just saying that in this space, you have to be more aware than ever. Because it's like, always think when you're in virtual space that what if it was national television? Would you be more mindful? Also in your communication, another tip, every time you're communicating officially, there has to be some breather. At home, you can be mindful again. However, at work, if everything that you said was printed on the first front page of national newspaper, would you say something different? With your name, today, first day, Nancy said this to Sangeeta, she said this to Jill. Would you act a little different? If your answer is yes or no, then you can be more mindful. And that's the beauty of virtual space. Everything that you're saying is being recorded. For example, though Mawa has asked me that if she can record the session, however, even if she doesn't ask, I cannot, if you've put a camera here and you're recording me, I would not know. So you need to be aware of this reality that you're being watched, left, right, up, down. It could be an audio message also. All right, so shall we go ahead with the next activity? And Jill, I'm aware that you have to leave early, but I would want everybody's permission if I can do the authenticity exercise earlier so that Jill can. Is that okay with you with a thumbs up? All right. So I'm skipping. I was talking about third element. Fourth element I have skipped because this is a very important part of the session. So I want Jill, before she leaves for a meeting, to attend this. Now, what is authenticity as per your understanding quickly? You've all heard it. Be authentic, be authentic, be authentic.
Original.
Original.
And credible.
Real.
Real. And how do you know something real?
Something which you are.
Okay. Without further ado, let's do this exercise. For that, we would be going into breakout rooms. Okay, and I am showing the exercise. I want you to write this down, please. And I will explain the activity in a bit before we actually go on to, so Mohan, maybe in a couple of minutes, we will start the breakout rooms. I will explain the activity. Yes.
My question is, so everybody will be in the separate breakout rooms or there are groups?
Yes, so everybody would be somebody, with somebody, so partners, yeah? 2 people in one room. Before we go into the breakout rooms, if you really do this activity with authenticity and with honesty, you would be surprised with the results that will show up for you. Okay. Now, think for a moment. I want you, when you go to the breakout room, you will be given 4 minutes to complete that exercise. And after 4 minutes, you'll come back to the main room. You will be with the partner. However, take 1 minute. Both people will take 1 minute each to write down, I think I am. For example, Nancy, right now Nancy is giving you an example. I think I am interactive. I think I am humorous. I think I am not someone who would go to a stranger and talk. I think I'm not someone who would do binge eating. I think I'm not someone who would give a compliment just because everybody is giving it. So you got the idea of this activity. So you have to write, I think I'm someone who is, and you write down whatever comes up for you. The minimum is 5. And I think I'm not, then you can write how much it shows up for you. Now, what will happen in the breakout room is that you would, after 1 minute, when both partners have written it down, taken it down, you would then tell after the list how many of those things that you've said. Actually, I will not tell you right now. Let me keep that suspense, and then you come from the room. So maybe you can share it with your partner, that what you think you are and what you think you are not. And you can exchange that, I think I'm like this, and the other person. And if you have any feedback to give to each other, you can give that. Is that okay? Okay, so now Mahua would ensure that each one of us would go into breakout rooms. So give us a couple of seconds, please. Ah, we are back.
No.
Already.
That was quick.
Wait. No, wait. Because they don't give denominators correctly. So I'm just seeing the time. Give me a second, okay? So the max that you can do is 120. How many minutes did you? 5 minutes?
Let's experiment it in this space also. That's perfectly fine. I think people
5 minutes?
maybe of 3 minutes, because I'm also mindful that Jill has to leave at 6:59.
Yeah, okay. Fine. Wait. Oh, God.
All right.
What happened?
That's okay. We got the hang of what we were supposed to do, and I think the universe wants Jill to ensure that the activities takeout is given. So maybe that's universe signaling us. Now, tell me honestly, how many of you wrote certain things for impression on the other person, and how many of the things that you've written are for expression? I'll give you an example. For example, I'm not the kind of person who would go and speak to a stranger. I'm saying for an impression. If I just check with myself, okay, I have, you are strangers, some of you. Do you see the difference? So some of the things we think that we are being authentic when we are saying it, we are doing it for impression, not for expression. And some of the things that we really are, we would do it for expression. So check in your list and be honest quickly. That will show whether you're being authentic or not. So tell me how many out of those items you wrote because it sounds good for somebody else. And be honest.
Nancy, I feel it a little difficult to categorize here.
Would you be willing to share anything that you've written in I think I'm not? Maybe two things?
Yeah, so I said, I think I am not rigid. But I don't think I meant it for impression because that's the way I am.
Sure.
So that is expression, right?
You tell me. I don't know.
Yeah, that is. But I also want to know how does it land? I mean, because at the end of the day, it is the landing that matters, right? I should land authentic.
It's like, can I fake authenticity? Not about you, but the question is, should land authentic? So I can tell you something. If you're authentic, it will land as being authentic. Okay. Jill, you would want to share quickly before you sign off as to one item that you've written, and Margaret, I'll come to you.
Yeah, I also found this to be a hard exercise, simply because I've been doing a lot of mindfulness and work around this in the recent, even in the last few weeks. So I said that I think I am committed, purposeful in what I do, passionate about my work and relationships. But I was really speaking to myself. I wasn't really thinking about how it would sound. And then the I think I'm not was also, I wouldn't want to tell people what that is. Because I wrote, I think I'm not very self-confident or self-assured, even though I may appear to be, I feel like I'm not. And the second one is I'm not as open as I could be. And in fact, that's the opposite of what I do for a living. I talk and teach about diversity and inclusion and openness. And so even in that reflection exercise, I would love to just share a comment here because I was really shocked at myself. I said that, Jacinda was the person that I sort of gravitated to. And while I was looking at the image, I realized she's also my age, my skin color, she looks as much like me as any of the, I'm closest to her in terms of affinity bias and even her struggle with femininity and being a woman in a man's world. I feel that's a very strong connection to my own identity. So as open as I would like to think that I am, I think that exercise itself was a confirmation of my own biases. So I don't know if this fits into the impression versus expression, only because the last two are things I would never tell anybody. I'm being vulnerable in today's session to say it out loud.
Lovely. It takes courage to say that, and I can do this as a sign to celebrate that vulnerability. And I can tell you about, if you really want to understand this deeper, and if you have to go, so I can give you, and then you can maybe watch this recording. Only request to you all is that when a Zoom link is shared, it should stay with you all. And when we say trust and authenticity, we will get to know. World is small.
Don't worry, Nancy. We will send private YouTube links, so only their IDs can see it. So it's okay.
Sure. Yeah. And so Jill, and for everybody who's watching, Margaret, also we will be exploring it in a bit more. And I'm not here, and I'll tell you what I'm doing right now when I say this, and watch it. I'm not being biased to Jill right now, but because she has to go,
Yes.
so I'm saying this. Do you think I really need to say this? I can just say it, right? I'm doing this for an impression, okay? Do you see that? Jill has to go, all right? So I don't want to act like I'm biased. So the takeaway is that see if your being and doing is different. Jill, maybe you can reflect as a reflective activity. There are two more things that we have to do. Okay. So do you see that when I say, listen, just for everybody's notice, I don't want to act biased or anything, but Jill, great, all the best. You have to go. So please refer on the being and doing. Now, how does that land on you? Expression or impression? Vishali?
Impression.
Everybody? Impression?
Yeah, even I felt impression.
Thank you. So now you know, though I thought that I was being authentic, but I was not. So I wanted to give you a demonstration of how we contradict ourselves. Yes? And executive presence is their foundation is authenticity. Right?
May I say something here?
Absolutely.
So what you're saying is so subtle, which half the time is not through our words, it's just through how we are putting it, how we are putting things out. You know, I mean, so I sometimes, I mean, I'm sharing this from my space that sometimes I find all these words difficult I feel that, oh, how do I assimilate all this? But what you're showing in terms of things, I understand because I think that is something I do. But, like if I went into the meaning of something far more, then it sort of starts to get me as to how it is. But this is understandable.
How many of you felt that she's actually said whatever as an expression, and there was there was no impression? It came from the space of expression for Vishali. Show of hands, please. Sangeeta. So you know the difference now. And would you like to connect with her better now? Do you see that she's being vulnerable? And I think people think that in executive presence, you're always sorted, you've all got it all together. The things that Vishali or Jill, before she excused herself from the session, the thing that she said, that I'm doing mindful practice, I'm doing this, that, but I'm realizing that I'm contradicting myself. You think it was also from expression, right? And what Vishali has said, unknowingly, we have connected one space ahead with Vishali to what we knew when she entered the room. Yes?
Absolutely.
Do you feel her presence more now?
Yeah.
So Nupur is saying that I think how you make others feel is an important part. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I will be coming, that is gravitas. And I'm mindful of the time also. We have 25 minutes. So I had to skip to the authenticity part. Mahua, you have to share something.
Yeah, so I think our 8th participant, Ampaka, she just joined at 7, so she just had 30 minutes. But still the time that she's there, Champ, would you want to put on your video and just give quick introduction? And, video is...
I will do certain things for impression. This is for everybody, okay? So you see when she enters the space, you tell me what you felt was from impression and what you felt was from expression. Okay? And then we will all right.
Hi. Good
Hello.
evening, everybody.
Hi. Could you please tell me your name? I know you're a champ. However, it'll be better for me to know your name.
I'm Champaka. People call me Champ.
Is it okay if I also call you Champ?
Yeah, sure. I would like that.
Lovely.
I'm the India head for ChainNet. It's a blockchain startup in Gurgaon. So we do reinsurance for large-scale commercial clients.
Lovely. We have covered 4 elements, Champ, and just to give you a quick brief, we have discussed what executive presence is, and we were in this space where there was authentic sharing, and people really came out and said that, if you're comfortable or uncomfortable, that was there. So we have covered four elements, which is, first one is just a recap for everybody also. First one is personal style. Second is online presence. Third is your communication ability to connect with people. That is rapport building. How do you make other people feel, like Nupur just wrote in the chat box? And fourth one, that we just did an activity on authenticity. And now we are moving on to the fifth element, which is gravitas. And I will just share. Now, what is your understanding of the word gravitas? This is the buzzword.
Presence.
Perhaps your words and your presence carrying a lot of weight and influence, maybe. Yeah. That it moves people to take action.
Sure. Now, as you said, presence. Now, executive presence is not just about how I am dressing. Till now, if you see two elements, your online presence and your personal style is part of who you are, right? So before people really open up to you, they see who you are. And that gives them signals that whether you are approachable, whether they should take that first step forward. However, gravitas is your ability to make other people feel comfortable. It is your ability to handle, or your ability to show grace under crisis. We've seen so many leaders. For example, Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand. When there was a church attack, she ensured that she was dressed in a particular attire, not from impression, but from expression space. So to show the belongingness, the sense of belonging to other people. So that's your gravitas, your how you act, how you behave, how you do decision making, your risk-taking ability, and most importantly, showing grace under fire. And how does that come? There is a formula called SBO. So there is a situation, and then there is a behavior, and then you get what I call outcome. Yes? Now I'm going to give you an activity, and this is the question. I want you to think about a person where you felt really good about yourself after the conversation was done, and I want you to tell me what made it special. I want you to take 30 seconds. Think about a conversation with someone where you felt really good about yourself. Think about a conversation with someone else where you felt really good about yourself. What made it special for you? Done? Would you like to share?
Yeah, I can share.
Yes, go ahead, Vishal.
Yeah, so just 2 days back, I had a conversation with my friend, and she was not feeling well. And so I gave her some things to do, like something that she could do to ease her pain. And I, at the end of the whole thing, felt that I had been able to help her in her time of need, and that made me feel good.
Okay. How do people receive this? What are the qualities that came clearly out of that? Margaret, you have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. She felt that she was able to help, and that made her feel special. She was able to do something, give, if we are looking at that word. Giving makes you, if you feel that she gave something and that was appreciated. So
Anybody else would like to share? Champ?
Yeah, a very recent couple of weeks conversation. You know, the pandemic has been really hard on many people. So it has been hard on me too. So this is a very vulnerable space that I'm sharing as well. I hope this remains within.
Could you be a little louder? I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you in between. Yeah.
Sorry, I said this is a safe space. I'm hoping, and the conversation stays here. Um, so the leadership had to actually take a sort of a cut per se, and we got acquired by the parent company that had actually been a partner with us. So they were strategic partners. They looked at the pandemic as an opportunity, and during a certain crisis, they said they will come and acquire. So which what so the result of that was that so I am the India head per se, but now there is a super boss to whom it's almost like there is a number one and a number two sort of a structure. So when this news was sort of shared, it was difficult for one to kind of understand, process the whole, how things will evolve in terms of the span of control, etc. The way I understand your question is, when there is a crisis, what is it that you do, how you choose to react, talks about your growth in terms of your exec presence per se. So while this was a very difficult conversation, I did not initially react. I did tell them that it will take some time for me to sort of think about whether I want to be part of this conversation, want to be part of the company further or not, with the current restructuring, etc. So, so when I went back to them, so I did tell them that there was a value alignment that I saw in a future. I wanted to kind of be in the same space. So I think not reacting in that particular moment gave me a lot of strength to go back and react with an appropriate response and a measure. Yeah. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's it.
Now
I don't know if
want
this
you, yeah, sure. Thanks for sharing. And Champ, I would be, I'm not sure if what I'm sharing right now will make others uncomfortable, but my job today is to make them uncomfortable. I was just watching everybody. Now what has happened is she has joined in after we were already into a conversation. And what happens is you're also like Nancy has to share more, there are two more, and now she's got an opportunity to speak. If you're really authentic, there was something going inside each one of you when she was sharing something, and I was just observing it. Oh, finish it! Like it was so evident in your body language. That's your gravitas in the critical moment that happened in the peak of the session when somebody, and I think it's universe signal to show you how you handle yourself when something unexpected happened. I believe that Champ has joined late for a reason, and it showed you your gravitas. I don't have to. I was planning an activity. I think it showed you by what she communicated, and I was just looking at everybody. I hope you got the message I'm trying to communicate very subtly. Yes. So we say
So
that
Nancy,
we listen.
can that be? Is that actually under your control? It
Absolutely.
can be.
You already have certain biases because you're like, we were already in the room and Champ is sharing, and I'm giving you 4-5 elements. Okay, I don't want to, and now she's joined in, and if she's sitting like this, Nancy has already told we have to sit properly. Now Champ, and there is this thing that Nancy has already said, and you are already making an impression about Champ because she's sitting like this and talking, and I've already spoken about my attire. So, and Champ is dressed in a cool manner. So I'm just saying that shows your gravitas. And I'm so glad she joined late because that couldn't be a better opportunity to show you your gravitas and how you treat others. Nupur was saying that, is it about how we make others feel? Well, this was a brilliant opportunity to tell you how you made Champ feel. While she was in her own world sharing it because she was so engrossed in that. And when you will see the video, you will see that I'm looking here and then I'm like, okay, what is happening with Mawa? What is happening with Margaret? What is happening with Brenda? What is happening with Shreya? What is happening with Vishali? What is Sangeeta was like, okay, let me switch off the video because Nancy has given that opportunity also. But I love the honesty because, you know, there are no guards. You actually came across what you will do in a situation like this. And imagine if it was a critical situation. So one thing for sure, we all need to work on our gravitas, including me. Because I'm also worried that, oh my God, Cham, lovely sharing. Please share more. But the thing is, we are tight on time. And I was like, And of course, she understood my cue and she said, yes, that's how it is.
But then, Nancy, won't that be faking? I mean, real faking. If
You all did it, na? You all did it. Faking as in you acted as if you're listening. However, you all were including me at a particular point, and I am also feeling moved to be vulnerable here because I was pressed, but then I was like, okay, let me see what I can do best in this situation. And I looked at each one of you. Yes, Mawa, please go ahead.
I think it depends. So maybe all of them do not know Cham. That's the reason they weren't very interested. Since I know her from before, I was interested in listening to what she was saying and her story. So I think it's also an element of how much is that person a stranger or you already know that person? That will totally be dependent on that.
What if I tell you that good that she's a stranger? This is how you will make the stranger feel? If that person is a new joinee in your team?
I got your point, but I'm saying there is a distinct difference that when you already are connected from before, your behavior or your thing will be very different.
Sure. And like I said, there's a confirmation bias, and my job today is to make you uncomfortable. Sometimes you don't even listen people whom we know because they're already very comfortable. Right?
So in such a scenario, how are we supposed to act?
Be mindful is your tip. But now, so you are mindful. Do you agree with my observation? This is authenticity. Now, some people are like, yeah, you know, you want to work on your gravitas. Beautiful moments. So thank you, Champ. I mean, I know you wanted to share more. However, let me tell you that there's something else that we have to share. And now see this. This is also expression. I have stopped her. However, I've given a reason to tell her that we are pressed on time while the sharing is lovely. Impression would have been,
True.
you know what I mean? So that's a critical element, which is gravitas, which we think. And in virtual space, imagine when the attention span is going down, we think that on call also, people are like, okay, let's do one thing, let's bring our favorite. Continue. Virtual space, important, right? So that's also something that we need to understand when it comes to executive presence. I'll quickly give you one more tip. Now, we become very casual. I have seen mugs like this when people are attending a conference. That's right. Yes. Now, tell me, where are you looking? Versus this, or plain, it's still neutral. You'll be like, some people might go, oh, right? No, this is not what I want in a business setting, or if I'm doing a training, it may look very appealing. And now you might think that, what is it? Because we are in virtual world, every action of mine. So even if I do this is being recorded. So gravitas is something that we really need to work on. And with that, quick recap, we have done first principle, which is personal style. Second is online presence. Third is gravitas, which we've just discussed. Fourth is communicate to connect, which is about others, not always about you listening. And fifth we discussed was authenticity. And I'm moving on to the last bit, which is thought leadership. Now we've all seen thought leadership. Sangeeta, you got me? Thought leadership. Now, do you see? I understood that she's not got it. And I know Sangeeta personally also. So your facial expression, that's also gravitas. That you're looking at the screen and checking. Yes, Shreya? Is it okay if I extend this session by 10 minutes?
Yes.
Everybody?
Yeah.
15 minutes? Promise that's the last bargain. 15 minutes, 1-5. Margaret is okay with 10. Okay, sure. Okay. Yeah. Margaret, I will come back to something that you said in authenticity. Is that okay if I share that? Yes.
Nancy,
Comfortable? Yes.
Nancy, sorry, I need to leave a bit early. I have something. So, is it okay?
Nupur, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Nupur, we will be finishing all the elements by 7:30, but for 10 minutes, I have an extra activity that I want to do. That's perfectly fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you will be getting the recording anyway, so you can get used to that.
Sure.
Something that I need to work on is how to ensure that your headphones don't topple over. That's okay, I'm into that. Now, Margaret, remember in the thing that you said, I am not. You said, I'm not rigid.
Yes.
Yeah, so is 15 minutes okay?
I'm okay with 10 minutes, but not 15 minutes.
Yeah, but you said you're not rigid.
Rigidity is very subjective, right?
Yeah, so let's test it in this situation.
So I become, what I say is the opposite, right?
I don't know. As a friend,
yes. So that's a question on my rigidity.
I don't know. I'm exploring it with you, and thank you for being such a sport. Thank you. I hope we are getting the messages. So executive presence is about being and doing, and sometimes you're not even aware. And the beauty is that we're calling our own bluff out, and it takes courage. Margaret, thank you so much. Did you see the expression? She said, I'm not doing what I'm saying. There's so much of an authentic expression out there. And there's a beauty out there, because if she would have said, no, I'm not being rigid, she's being rigid by saying, I'm not being rigid. You get that?
Yeah.
No, I'm not being rigid. That's not true. No, I'm not being rigid. No. That brings me to the last element, which is thought leadership. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. And given the time that we are living in today, it is all the more critical. We have all seen that person in the room who would challenge an idea and come out with solution when everybody is quiet. That's thought leadership. And I remember, because I come from a particular fraternity, and some of the people were, have said that in their sessions, fake it till you make it. And when I put it on Facebook, I know that many people would have been upset with me indirectly. But and it took me so many years to put that out on Facebook, LinkedIn, and all my social media platform, because I knew what that statement would do. However, I wanted to share that because I was like, it's high time that we call this bluff out. So I'm just saying that it's a process. We all want to say certain things. However, out of impression, we don't say it. Yes? And you see that how they're all interlinked when we did the authenticity exercise? For example, I strongly believe in a cause, but I will check the trend. Okay, Black Lives Matter hashtag is trending, hashtag this. Okay, Elephant Lives Matter is trending, hashtag Elephant Lives Matter. But maybe from within, I don't really support that cause. That's your thought leadership. You challenge the idea that, okay, why this? Why not talk about this in this particular time? And it takes courage. So for me, or for you, one thing that I would really want all of you to work on is your thought leadership. And it's an ongoing process. Are you willing to be authentic? And people who challenge the status quo are being authentic, in the sense that if that is what they really believe in. Yes? Does it make sense? Yes, Martha.
Yeah, I have a query here.
Go ahead.
See, as a presenter, all right, so I'm saying that you are saying that we need to be thought leaders, having an authentic point of view, right? So in fact, on Friday, because I was actually the presenter for one of my sessions, and the topic was something about visibility. All right. So how it is important for you to be visible in the organization to go high in your career. So there was a participant who actually came back with his point of view to say that he was in the forces, he was in the army, where he he was telling in front of me and to the other participants to say that this is not how it works in the army. So actually, he was not even buying my topic itself with his thought leadership. So what do you do there?
Wow. So here I want to tell you, and thanks for that thought. Just disagreeing with somebody is not thought leadership.
Pardon?
Right?
I didn't get you.
Just disagreement with somebody. Now this person disagreed with you because that person wanted to disagree with you. I'm saying that that's not thought leadership. Thought leadership is also maybe you challenge the status quo. However, you don't lose your grace, even if you're challenging. So that's why, in executive presence, all these elements are interlinked. If you really see the palette that I have made, these, even if you miss one, it's not complete. So if that person was challenging you by saying that, I see it differently, Margaret. I'm sure you have a reason of saying this. I see it differently. You would have been more open to that person rather than saying, I don't buy this. This doesn't happen like that. I don't think so. That's thought leadership. And that's where people confuse that challenging an idea. So thank you so much for that thought. I think it's a value add for everybody. Thought leadership is not just disagreement. Thought leadership is when you challenge an idea, but you're at the same time having the gravitas, the grace under crisis to handle it authentically. At the same time, you communicate to connect. You see, there's an element that I've mentioned there. So that's why they're all connected. Thought leadership.
So in such a case, how do I as a presenter, show my executive presence, my thought leadership?
So if somebody is disagreeing with you, I would just say that if you think that they are taking away the time, so Margaret, can I park this for a couple of minutes?
Sure.
That's how you do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the entire executive presence is, the idea really is, why do I really work on executive presence? If you really see in this room, Margaret has disagreed with me, and there were a few more people who were sharing their views. But rapport building is that in this world where constantly you're bombarding with the messages to be somebody else, it takes courage to be yourself. But if you look at how we are born in this world with love, right? That's when you were a kid without any layers, everything. You were okay to be yourself, but at the same time, you were loving. You looked at everybody with that much of care. That's the power of executive presence, that if you are part of a conversation, am I willing to see it without my confirmation biases? Am I willing to see somebody coming from a space of their biases and say, okay, let me hear them out because they also have a bias? And that's where you have a presence. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does.
Thank you. There's this video in the presentation that maybe you can watch it when I'll be sharing it. It's by Dove, and it's a beautiful video. And maybe I'll share it because Nupur has to leave at 7:30. I'll share it because it will tell you what I'm talking about when it comes to your executive presence also. Now, the idea of doing this session is that we all have a presence, like I told you. So you have a presence here. Our idea is, after all these 6 elements, to take it there. And we have done certain activities which have made some people uncomfortable, and that was the entire idea of doing that. So that gap you're aware of, that all right, I thought I have my gravitas in place, and when champ entered, and then we knew the reality, what is happening, right? So I'm just saying that to end this session on a note, and then I will open it for Q&A, and I'll do one activity bit also. Now, many people would say that, but Nancy, there are other people who are not behaving well, right? They need to also work on their executive presence. I cannot control anyone. The only person that I can control is myself. As cliche as it may sound, however, that's the reality. Can you control COVID? Try it. We all are trying in our own ways. So I end this session with this quote which says, if it is to be, it is up to me. Yes? Any thoughts?
It was a lovely session, Nancy.
I love you already, okay? I can see that. And we are doing this final activity, which I call how to see others fully. And Brenda, I can see that in your eyes. Maua, Sangeeta, Shreya, Champ, I can't see you, so unicorns are for real, okay, if you say so. Vaishali. So Champ, we were talking about changing the display picture also when we are for the presentation. So
Yeah, I know.
it's a general reminder, and I'm liking it. You know, I'm sure universe had its own role to play when you entered the space, and thank you so much for that. Right? So let's do this. Have you seen others fully? By that I mean that most of the time when we are appreciating others, the person with executive presence is able to see others fully. I'll give you an example of Maua because I have interacted the more. I know others also, but I would take her example. Now we've had interactions where you said, like I'll give you an example. So she said, Nancy, can you make a video for this? And very lovingly she said that it will be interesting because for people to enroll for this workshop, they would know that who are you and when they're coming for the space. And the authentic side of me said that I want to say no. And I said, okay, the impression side of me wants to say yes. I said, sure, give me some time. And she said, no worries, take your time. And and I said, okay, she's understood me. That's great. And after a few days, she didn't ask me. I send a message to her. I'll send it next week. Okay, she said, no worries, take your time. And I felt so seen by her. And then we were discussing, and I always discuss participants' profile. And in fact, even before I could discuss, Moa called me up and she said, I just wanted to give you a brief about who the participants are, what do they do, so that you get an idea. Brenda is from US, and Shreya is the youngest one, and Sangeeta is there, and Margaret is there. So I know a little bit about each one of you, though I gave an impression that I don't know. However, I know a little. So this is an honest confession. I know a little bit about you. So coming back to fully seeing her, I felt that if it would have been any other platform where there is commercials involved, I was answerable to her. Yes, she's asked me. Ideally, as per the job description, I'm supposed to do that. But I felt so seen by her because I came from a space that everybody, and I told her that. Actually, then I felt that, what, I need to call her. I feel so seen by her. I called her and I said, Mama, see, I know, but everybody's saying, you want to do this, you want to change your life, you want to do this. I said, I want to take that risk and see if, and till that time, I think we had only 4 registration. It is way back, even when we had started. And so, and we were very clear that 8 seats to bharni hi hai, so that everybody's there. And she said, don't worry about registration, we'll take care. So I felt such comfort. So I'm just saying that, sometimes when you see somebody fully, and I can tell you what I saw, and that's what we have to do for each other. Okay. I saw care without even saying anything in her gesture. I saw love. That is the ban nahi raha hoga shayad. I'm not saying that she's like time nahi ho raha hoga pyar hone ka and all that. So maybe she's not making it, or she wants to work on the script. It takes time. I don't know. I heard so much without her saying anything. I felt so seen. So I'm just saying that executive presence is your ability without even saying certain things sometimes, even just a single message. Don't worry. And I felt so seen. So today when I had to do the workshop, and again I'm saying, so do you see when somebody makes you so comfortable, there is this obligation. So I said, Noah, I think I'll make the video. But now I have an honest confession. Abhi raat ho gayi hai, the lighting is bad. I don't think so. I'm making the video today. Please go ahead.
Brenda doesn't understand English, Hindi.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My bad. I'll repeat it. So I just said that it's night already. I think that's the only thing I said in Hindi. So I said that it's night already and the lighting is bad. So I'm not sure if I'll make the video today also. Yeah. So that's the power of seeing somebody fully. Do you see? I didn't say that I really like you. I like that you understood me. That's appreciation. But when you see somebody fully, you tell them actually what makes them caring for you. Okay? So now this is an opportunity. I know you would say that, but I don't know all these people. How do I tell them? So maybe everyone would pick one person and they would tell them how do they see them fully without appreciation. It has to come with seeing someone fully. Am I clear in terms of how there is a difference?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's try.
How do you want to do that? In pairs, in breakout? How do you want to do that?
We can do it openly also. Somebody can just pick out somebody's name because you have seen people interacting, right? In this room, very room. Even if somebody has not spoken, they've showed you their presence. And I want you to make them feel seen. And you will not include my name and Mawa's name to remaining participants. Start.
Can I go?
Please.
So I am going to, so I have to name the person, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I am going to speak about Brenda, and I feel that she's full of energy and very positive, and yeah, those are the two things that come to me.
Beautiful. And do you see that they resonate with what she said earlier? She wants to come across as a person who is positive. Something on the similar line she said when I said, would you like to introduce yourself? Is that correct, Brenda?
Yes, like I'm teachable,
Yeah. So
willing to learn.
do you see her presence is in sync with how you have seen her? And I agree with you. Who would go next?
I will go next.
Go. Yes.
Okay. Margaret. This is not in a bad way, but I like just hearing her talk and seeing her, you can see that she is a trainer, she is a teacher. The way she questions and even the way she speaks about other people approaching her, it's visible.
Yeah. If I have your permission, can I rephrase it?
Yes, please.
So your ability to speak your mind, uh, Margaret, your ability to make other people also feel seen, and your ability to be authentic without worrying how you would come across, even if you're misunderstood, taking that risk is amazing. Is that correct, Brenda? Yes. Who would go next?
I will go next. I will talk about Vaishali. Somewhere I feel that she's a very warm person, and I feel that if I were to meet her, we would gel well. I mean, it could be a gut feeling, I don't know, but looking at her, that's what I feel.
So our friendships are pouring right away in the session also. Lovely. Yes. Who else?
I'll go.
Yeah.
I think I'll say Vaishali. Vaishali, like she is accommodating. Like when we started about like shifting her screen for the background, and now she changed. I think the background itself. So so she's accommodating, and also Margaret, like she stood out in the session. I like that the confidence and the ability to ask questions wherever she wanted to. So I like yeah. So just like coming out as a confident person, which I personally like, and I would be like, okay, I should be with that kind of person. So yeah.
Anybody else would like to share? Go ahead.
Sorry.
Can I share for one more person?
Yes.
So I have for Shreya, which I had in my mind, and I find that she's a very innocent person, and yeah, that's the only one point that comes very strongly. She's very innocent.
Okay, so I would stop it here, and I would say that those who have not received it or those who have not, it's not that, and this may come across as an impression, and I'm giving you the warning because I know how it'll land. Right? It's trainer's ability to say, "Sabko ek baar ikattha karke," just make sure that everybody is feeling good. Now, you need to see that in certain opportunities, am I okay to share the limelight? That's also your presence. For example, for Sangeeta, Champ, and Shreya, if somebody has not appreciated, it's also because you gave the opportunity to others in this very room to speak more. That's also your presence. You should also celebrate that, because sometimes we get into this facade that, oh my god, what is it about me in this session? The entire takeaway takes a backseat. Why I was not noticed? But when people will reflect, I can tell you for sure, Sangeeta, that, and Champ joined in late, and I know I'm time and again pitching in that because we discussed a lot, so I just wanted to make sure that I'm saying that. So I'm just saying that sometimes listening is a better presence also. When I use the word better, it's coming from impression, not expression. And that's how you become more mindful, because when words are coming out of our mouth, even if you've said, you have the opportunity to say also that, you know what I actually wanted to say, and that is the space that you can have, and that's your presence if you're really mindful, right? So yes, a couple of questions or your thoughts that you want to share. We are through the session.
I think this was a great session. It got us to reflect on ourselves. There are certain things that we take for granted that actually they make an impression on other people, and we just don't take time to think about it. So this was a very great session for us just to reflect on ourselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just have a question.
Go ahead, please.
If there were men in the conversation, how would this conversation have been different?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it for the conversation to happen, to see that if you could elaborate your question specifically, if you have something in your mind, I would be happy to answer that.
So in my company, I have a lot that I navigate with, and most of them are men. I'm the only woman in leadership position per se, other than one other person in HR. So a lot of yeah, I think it's a different conversation. Maybe we don't have time for that, but I just want to leave with a thought saying that the amount that we think before we speak, I don't see the same that is applied by men in the organization. It's okay to be wrong.
Absolutely. There's nothing right or wrong. So, I understand, and tell me if I have understood it differently. What you're really saying is that, Nancy, are you saying that we have to constantly watch our words because men are not doing that? Absolutely.
Somewhere
not.
I feel that they are more fearless, and you measure everything, what you say, how you want to behave. There's so much thought that goes into perfecting the whole thing before you say something.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Cham, that's what. So again, I'm saying this, that we have discussed this, that it takes courage, and we were talking about expression and impression. You join in late, so we have discussed this, that executive presence is not about faking it till you make it. Executive presence is also about challenging the idea in the room, even if you are the single woman standing in the room, and saying, however, if you look at the way men give feedback to each other, if they come out of the presentation, they would say that you could have done better. But how women give feedback to women? So that's why these conversations, right? Women are harsh on other women, and let's face this. But to answer your question, would it be different? If you really need appreciation, I when I do trainings, there are a lot of men sitting in the room, and I'm okay to appreciate them also. So again, I ended the session by saying that if it is to be, it is up to me. Not faking it till you make it. Yes, please, Brenda, go ahead.
Sorry, Champ and everyone on the call, I think it will be great for you to join our session tomorrow, the book club. There's a book that we're currently reading, Confidence Code, I think. And it brings out how the difference between men and women, the way they are so confident and they don't have to think about it. But us as women, we we take a step back and should I not? And there's always this negative voice that talks us down to not stand up and say. So yes, if they were men during this conversation, it would have been a different scenario. Others would not have even contributed because they do not feel safe in the space.
Sure, and that's why I said expression becomes all the more important. Thank you, Margaret, for that appreciation. And that's why I said that Vaishali needs to be as vulnerable as she was in this safe space. And it's up to us. And so confidence and credibility has to come hand in hand. And I agree with you, Brenda. Thanks for sharing that. So that's why executive presence is the most misunderstood word. It's not about faking it till you make it. It's about the courage to stand in the room because you believe that you have it, that it takes to be there. Right? All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And over to you, Mawa.
Yeah, so thank you for everybody joining in. The next steps, we will share the video with you. But as I request after every session, feedback is the most important way for us to improve. For us as Tara and me, and for Nancy also, because every day we look at opportunities on how do we improve. So please, it takes 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. Do spend that time because it is going to help all of us ensure how well we make the next session better. So that's the request from you. Yeah, and thank you. And whoever, I think Champ, you missed a lot of session, go through the video. Yeah, and let's, whoever joins in for tomorrow's confidence code, looking forward.
And we will be sharing guided worksheets after this session. You will be receiving an email soon. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.